Go Jesus, it's your birthday. Ho 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 everybody, we got some very exciting new gear that just came in and we finished the reviews and we need a couple of B-roll shots for them. So I thought let's make a build out of it. And because today is the 24th of December, so Christmas, I thought let's make the whole thing a themed thing and I put on my ugly sweater. Now the original idea for today was to actually make it a real Christmas build, like, you know, white and red and shiny and a lot of RGB. The problem is none of the gear that we just received had any like Christmas vibe to it. So we decided to just make it a build and put on an ugly sweater. But let's talk about the components we got for today. So the most important one is going to be the Azza Neo case, which is kind of cool with those squares here. It is a bit in a Montec style, like a pre-filled case, everything ready to go. You don't need to purchase a lot of extra cooling to equip the case with. I have no clue if it's low budget or not. I have not found the price yet. I am just unable to find the price, period. It looks at least cool. Then for the motherboard, we are going Intel with this one. We are using a 13700K. I know a bit older CPU, but a 13700K is still more than enough for nowadays for every still relevant game or will be relevant game in a couple of months. It's a great CPU still. To pair with that, we got the ASRock Phantom Z790 Riptide. And the reason I wanted to use this one is because it's DDR5. And what I also got are two sticks of Corsair Vengeance DDR5, which are like crazy fast. What is it? 6600 CL32? Is that right? I think so. Yeah, it should be CL32. So pretty quick RAM and RGB, which is important because everything today is going to be black and RGB. Of course, we got the usual power supply, this time from Be Quiet, but that's not really that important because there is no RGB on it. But what is important is the cooler that we are going to use, because I wanted to fill the top of the case with a 360mm AIO, which design-wise will fit perfectly into this, because this is the Azza Cube, which we just finished reviewing and it performed flawlessly on our 13900K benchmark machine. Now, I still don't know why this performed as well as it did. It was insanely good. Like, it won't beat a Leon Lee Galahad or, for example, the EK Nucleus, which I also got a week ago, but that's another topic. But considering it's a regular 27mm AIO, it should not have performed the way that it did. It was way too good. Like, astonishingly good. Like, I needed to redo the benchmarks kinda good. Now, I still don't know why that is the case. I'm shocked, but I'm just accepting it at face value. And I'm happy that Azza was able to put out an AIO that was surprisingly good, and good for them. And I guess at this point everything is explained and we can start building. Now, something that is going to be slightly brand new for me is installing that AIO in the setup that we will do today, because our benchmark machine is basically an open air test bench, or it is a open air test bench, and therefore I never have to install coolers inside of a case to test them. And that is the way I wanted to do it. As for the benchmarks, and I'm doing like the how to mount later on or during or whatever. But for the Azza AIO, that is one of the only ones which was never featured in a build until now, or that I never used outside of just benchmarking it. So that's going to be very interesting for me, especially because it has a special kind of mounting mechanic where you somehow just slide the water block into place and then hope that it doesn't fall out, which, yeah, I'm not so sure about that still. I'm getting used to that type of mounting, but I doubt that I will ever call it my favorite. SSD in, CPU in. Oh yeah, I need to... You see, it's so unnatural for me that I forgot half the mounting. So this now needs to go in there. Yeah, it is supposed to be like that. I am supposed to install everything and then leave it like that. Wobbly as hell. That's how Azza intended it to be. Oh, before I forget it. Great. Now, as I said in the beginning, this case comes completely pre-filled with fans, which is great. It does save me a lot of time. However, during B-rolling and during benchmarking, of this case. I mean, the fans are for free, which is never a bad thing, and that's already something, but they do have a whistle sound to them. Like, you can definitely hear the bearing. Not like a bit, but a lot. But only at very low fan speeds. Today I'm also going to take the opportunity, because the review isn't filmed yet, I'm taking the opportunity to test it again with a different fan controller, or in this case a different motherboard, that maybe there was some compatibility issue with my testing board. I guess not, never happened before, but you know, I always prefer to give them the benefit of the doubt before making the statement that the bearings are crap. But right now I'm pretty sure the bearings are crap. Okay, now before we mount down the AIO, I think it's best to install the power supply and already route all the cables in there. Just because I don't think once the AIO is in the way that I'm going to have a good time there. I love when manufacturers install that like bracket in the back for the power supply, this useless bracket, and you can completely skip it. In this case, it is completely useless. Like for a lot of Fantex cases, or even Be Quiet, you won't be able to install the power supply through the side. But in this case, nobody cares. You can just do it. Why the hell did they put the bracket in there in the first place? And why do we have that bracket? I still don't get it. Why they added the additional cost and additional time to install for a bracket that seems to have absolutely no benefit at all. So, okay, let's do a bit of cable management at the same time, just to have everything prepared in place. My beloved not NVIDIA Octopus, CPU power, 24 pin, ARGB, audio, sure, front audio. And where is my favorite PWM connector for the front fans? Here it is. Dick. Whew, okay, cable management done. Now, coming to that AIO. I think even according to the manual, it's best to first install the radiator and then continue with the rest, which is also what we are going to do. However, I need to check if the cables are in the right direction. Yeah, everything seems to be fine. So I guess I can mount it down in the top, and then we will somehow try to put in that water block without any sort of help, which doesn't sound like the best idea at all. Okay, so I guess just let that thing fill there. For the ARGB and PWM is coming out here in the back. Let's use the included extension to route it to the back, and then from there back to the motherboard. Or you know what, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to first connect this one there. And from here, I'm going to pull it to the back. So I don't need to do that later. And I'm going to pull it back into the front, where I'm going to immediately connect it to the last fan, so that I don't need to do that later on. Today is a day where I'm thinking about my stuff. I do not like to install radiators in that way. Okay, that was the easy step. Now comes the hard one. But hey, at least everything is already pre-connected. The only thing I did not pre-connect is all of this ARGB madness, which we will do later on, and the pump, because that one is coming out on this side. Okay, now comes the moment of truth. How to connect that water pump. No, not water pump, just that water block. This is not at all easier than doing it on an open test bench. Come on. Okay, it's in there and it looks pretty straight to me. Exactly as expected, this was significantly harder to do than simply doing it outside of a case. This is not a good approach. I still don't like it. I don't mind it anymore, but I still don't like it. Everything is in there, everything is ready, and now we are coming to the last component, which for some reason I completely forgot to introduce in the beginning, or 4080. Please don't show this in the video. We are. And thanks to Be Quiet using that very not annoying cable, only a single one. I don't want to forget it, we even got a little GPU anti-sag bracket. Finished. Back to the tempered glass. That was one of the best peels I ever had. Now I just need to hope that this thing is actually booting, but I don't see a reason why not. I see one reason why not. Did I ever connect the front panel? How in the hell did I forgot to mount the front panel? No, because the cables were squished in here. I didn't see them. How unsatisfying now. How unsatisfying. Wow, this thing performed exactly how I expected. I did a bit of temperature benchmarks in here, and I had Cinebench 24 running in loop as well as Firmark 4K all in. And at that moment the GPU was sitting at a very cozy 54 degrees C, which, I mean, it's a giant GPU. This GPU cools extremely well, so that's alright. But the CPU was packed against 5.3 GHz P-core and 4.2 E-core, while it's bursting above 200 watts, like 210 in Cinebench. And I had all of the settings at completely stock. The pump was running at whatever the motherboard was telling it to. The fans were running at whatever the motherboard was telling them to. And the CPU never even reached 90 degrees C. So this AIO performs really well. A 13700K is not a very easy to cool CPU. It's not the hardest. It's not an i9. But never reaching 90 in Cinebench with everything on auto, it's a very good result so far. So wow, the cooler does not only perform extremely well on my 3900K benchmark, but also here in the case. It is surprising to me. For the fans, as I said in the beginning, there is a very slight whistle. I can hear the bearings, but in a build when everything is running, it's less noticeable. I will show it, I have a recording, I will show it in the review about the case. So bearing noise is there, but it's not as bad as I remembered it to be. It could be better, but it's okay, it's okay. But for me, it's a very nice build, very clean, not a lot of cable visible. I like it. I do like that the tubes are coming out in the bottom. That's new to me. I didn't have that, and I'm pretty sure that half the population will still install them on the right side, which isn't wrong. I mean, the whole thing is round, or the copper base is round, so who the hell cares? You can orient it how you will. But based on Azza's manual, they mounted it with the tubes in the bottom, and I really do like the design that this creates. Plus, I think it's a beautiful AIO. The whole case is beautiful. It might not be the most expensive one, like it's a bit plasticky feeling, of course, but for a budget build, this is very much alright. The AIO is underneath €100 in this case. As a budget build, this is amazing. A budget build is a 4080. Nothing is budget about a 4080, but for me, I really like the build, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, or the special Christmas episode. Me in a ugly sweater. No, not ugly sweater. Me in the most beautiful sweater ever, which I will wear on the 24th, to the very surprise of my extremely Christian family. That's going to be a fun ride. But for me, this is going to be it. I need to eat a lot. It's Christmas, time to eat. So thank you very much for watching. I wish all of you an amazing Christmas, amazing holidays, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.